All right, welcome into Prize Picks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick. Make sure you try to find one of these shirts. You can also find me at 5 Reasons Sports. You can find our guy David Eversole at David W. Eversole. He's right above me there. And below me, we've got Talk About Sports, David Friedman. That's right, we're all looking up and down at each other. Make sure if you're playing Prize Picks that you go use the code 5. Use the code FIVE. Get that matching bonus. That's very, very important. And, of course, in Prize Picks, you can play more than the NFL. You can play MLB, MMA, golf, whatever it is that you want to do until NBA season comes back. But we're going to be talking NFL here again today. So we got a Thursday night football game between the Texans and the Panthers. Texans do not have Tyrod Taylor, obviously not on the board tonight. The Panthers are off to a good start because of their defense. But before we get to the picks tonight, we want to get to a little bit of a debate that we've had on our threads, which is when it comes to receivers. Because when you're playing those single stat categories, you may be deciding, do I want to play yards or do I want to play receptions? What is sort of easier to root for? And also, what is easier in terms of getting your money? So I'm going to let the two of you guys go at it because I know, Eversole, you've got a theory on this.
Yeah, my theory is you can have catches without yards, but you can't have yards without catches. So I was looking at some of the lines, especially for the Dolphins and some of those other teams that like to get the ball out quickly. A lot of those are going to be short, intermediate passes to the backs, slants, the slot receivers and things like that. So I like those high-volume guys on the receptions number because the yards fluctuate. Look at somebody like Brandon Cook. I think he had 130-something yards in the first game, but only 78 in the second game. But he had 9 catches for 78 yards. So he was well over on catches, but, right there borderline on the yard. So I just think the yards are a little bit volatile. Obviously, a lot of guys are going to go over those marks. I know David thinks a little differently than I do in terms of the yards versus the catches. But I'm a reception guy. Like Myles Gaskin and Jalen Waddle, both on Sunday against Buffalo, went over on catches, but each missed their yards by half a yard. So that kind of made my point for me. Maybe that was just good timing on my part.
Freeman, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm glad he said good timing because, when does that ever happen where the two guys that you pick for yards miss by half a yard? That does happen, obviously. And I think more or less, my argument against what you're saying isn't necessarily against what you're saying. It's that it's not such a broad brush. It's situational, obviously, depending on the player. This thing about you can get catches without yards and whatever. Yeah, but you can have a guy like Tyreek Hill catch 1 for 70 yards. That can happen the reverse way. And a guy like Tyreek Hill is a guy who, he'll put up a stat line of 3 catches for 112 yards. That does happen. So I just think in general, it's not so much I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's not across the board always the same.
No. Yeah, no, I agree with that. You have to look at the team.
Hindsight, Jalen Waddle and Gaskin missing by half a yard on each of those. Looking back, maybe that specific instance, I can understand Waddle getting a lot of volume. The Gaskin thing, I didn't really love that pick anyways. But the Waddle pick I had across the board. And yeah, looking back, I can understand. But again, we're talking about a 35-0 game. That's an anomaly. That's not, looking at that particular game and those two guys. I mean, if that's your argument, I guess. But like I said, it's just a little bit of both.
All right, well, let's look at tonight then, because do either of you guys in this Panthers-Texans game, are either of you guys playing receivers tonight?
I'm not, but
I think, you didn't do any? Okay, so I actually did go, and I across the board, I kind of like Brandon Cooks, but I was heavy on DJ Moore. I think it's 5.5 receptions. And I think part of that, and again, situationally for me in this case, is just simply that I think the game, and I think we all can agree, the Panthers will probably be ahead. I think they'll maybe pull away, and maybe the passing won't be as heavy towards the end of the game. So the idea of the yardage, right? You don't know what's going to happen, but I think he can get those 6 receptions pretty early. So that I can roll with. I can do the simple math, and that makes sense to me.
What about you, David? You any receivers you like tonight?
There's some interesting things because Amendola's out for the Texans. So, Chris Conley, who's probably their second receiver behind Cooks, is at 2.5. David Johnson at 2 receptions. If Mills has to check down a lot. He's going to be under pressure. He might be dumping the ball down. I like all the Houston receivers, actually. I like over on all three of these, to be honest with you. Carolina spreads the ball around a little bit more. I think McCaffrey and Moore will get theirs, like you said, but I'm feeling pretty safe with Conley over 2.5 and with Cooks also over 5.5.
All right, now I like, because of some of what David Friedman was saying here, I like Sam Darnold to go under tonight. That's my prized pick tonight. 265.5 yards. This feels to me like a game where they're just not going to want to take a lot of chances. I feel like it's, this is get in and get out, okay? Avoid turnovers. Probably going to be a low-scoring game. I think the over-under on this game is 43.5, which is a very low number these days, and I actually still think that they're going to go under. And so my thought process is, Darnold, I don't see the need for him to throw for 300 today. I don't think they're going to push that. And I think this is going to be one of these kind of ball control, keep the turnovers down, something along the lines of maybe a 23-10 game or something like that. So I'm going. It's
just
under
what's necessary to win tonight, right?
Exactly. So I don't anticipate big numbers. Now, I was surprised with what happened last Thursday. Pretty much everybody went over in that game between the Giants and the Cowboys, and the score went way over the number. But I don't think that lightning strikes twice. So I'm going under Aaron Darnold tonight.
So I'm jumping in. I'm going to go the opposite quarterback here. I'm going Davis Mills. I think it's 205.5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just what we've been saying. And going back to even last Thursday, like it was the same thing. We just went based on who we thought would be winning, and that's it. Like I think they're going to be behind. I think he'll throw enough. He had, I think, just over 100 yards passing and a half yesterday or last week. Again, do the math. They'll be behind. I think he'll throw enough to get to 206.
What do you think, David?
Well, I'm going to go with the opposite direction as terms of running. I like Mark Ingram over 37.5 rush yards. I think they're going to try to protect Mills back there, maybe lean on the running game a little bit, try to keep it close, shorten the field a little bit. So I think Ingram's going to get probably around 15 carries or so. And even though he averages only about 3 yards a carry, I think he can sort of fall down enough to get his 38 yards. So I'm going to take Ingram over 37.5 rushing.
Yeah, I like that too. The Texans are an interesting case, man. It's like all these running backs, you don't know where they went. They're in Houston right now, and they're all sort of in the same backfield. But I do think Aaron gets the bulk of the carries. So those are our prize. So, Freeman, just to be clear, what's your prize pick tonight?
Davis Mills, over passing yards.
Over on passing yards. I have Darnold under on passing yards. David Eversole has Ingram over on rushing yards. And again, some love for Brandon Cooks here too as well. Here, this one. We will take a question here. Can I ask questions? I have hella parlays tonight. Throw them at us, or even better yet, throw them at our account. We're going to tweet this out from 5 Reasons Sports account, and also from the from the PrizePicks on 5 account. So tweet them at us, and we'll tweet answers back to you too. We want to get a little bit of interaction going there as well when we're not live here. So again, use the code 5, but send it our way on Twitter, and we'll be sure to try to answer your question. We'll be back before the Sunday games this weekend, and again before Monday Night Football.